In the late 1970s, the Soviet Union was falling apart from the inside. Shortages, corruption, silence. A nation built on fear and denial. And in that silence, something evil grew. A man who hid behind politeness, glasses, a soft voice, a teacher, a husband, a father. His name was Andrei Chikatilo. To the world, he looked harmless. But for more than a decade, he became one of the most prolific killers in modern history. They called him the Butcher of Rostov. But beneath that name was something much darker. A man shaped by hunger, humiliation, and the collapse of a system. Andrei Chikatilo was born in 1936 in a small Ukrainian village called Yablochnoye. It was a time of famine, death everywhere, silence in every home. His father was sent to war. His mother told him stories of how his older brother was kidnapped and eaten. Whether that story was true or not, no one knows. But for the boy, it became a seed of terror that never left. He grew up shy, isolated, bullied. He couldn't defend himself. He couldn't even speak clearly. A stutter that made him the target of laughter. By the time he reached adulthood, one thing had become clear. He felt powerless, and he hated that feeling. Chikatilo became a teacher in the 1970s. A man trusted by parents, respected by colleagues. But inside, he was collapsing. He couldn't form real connections. He felt rejected, invisible, until he discovered control. His crimes began small, and for years, no one noticed. Victims disappeared quietly. Runaways, students, the forgotten faces of Soviet life. Each time, he grew bolder. Each time, more confident that no one would ever stop him. In a country built on silence, silence protected him. By the mid-1980s, fear spread across southern Russia. Bodies began appearing near train stations, in forests, and along rural roads. But the Soviet police refused to admit there was a serial killer. The idea itself was a Western sickness. It didn't exist in the USSR. So the murders continued. Years passed. Hundreds of officers searched blindly, without data, without communication, until one small mistake. A witness saw him leaving a train station with a child. He was detained briefly, then released. But the pattern was clear. The Rostov Ripper had a face. In 1990, investigators finally caught him near a train station in Novocherkassk. He was calm, almost relieved. He said softly, "I know why you came." For days, he confessed in chilling detail. Names, dates, locations. Every word precise, like a man describing his job. Psychologists later said he represented the perfect storm. Childhood trauma, sexual repression, and total moral detachment. He said, "I didn't want to kill, but I had no other way to feel alive." His trial in 1992 became a media circus. Hundreds filled the courtroom just to see his face. He often shouted at the judges, laughed, taunted reporters. It was theater, grotesque, but captivating. In the end, the court found him guilty of over 50 murders. He showed no remorse, only exhaustion. The sentence was clear: death. In 1994, Andrei Chikatilo was executed by a single gunshot to the head. No last words, no emotion. For Russia and Ukraine, the case became a warning that evil doesn't always wear a monster's face. Sometimes it wears a uniform, a smile, a teacher's badge. Criminologists still study him, not for what he did, but for how long he went unnoticed. A man who thrived in a system built on secrecy. A man who became the reflection of his time, when empathy was weakness and silence was survival. When people hear about Andrei Chikatilo, they imagine a monster. But monsters aren't born. They're made through fear, shame, and decades of silence. Because the real horror isn't what he did. It's how easily he hid, right in front of everyone, for 12 long years.